The smartest way to use protein to build muscle. Did you know that protein, often hailed as the cornerstone of muscle development, holds the key to unlocking your body's full potential for strength and growth? As fitness enthusiasts, we are bombarded with advice on the optimal use of protein, yet navigating through the sea of conflicting information can be overwhelming. It's time to cut through the noise and get to the heart of the matter. Obviously, there's a lot of conflicting information about protein out there, so in this video, I want to condense all the best science-based information down to give you a final answer on every protein-related question you've ever asked. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. How much protein per day? Initially, when considering general health, the World Health Organization recommends a protein intake of merely 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight or 0.36 grams per pound. For instance, an individual weighing 80 kilograms or approximately 180 pounds would require only about 65 grams of protein daily, a target easily met by a typical Western diet. However, this guideline does not account for weight training, prompting numerous protein experts to advocate for an increase. Considering the plethora of evidence demonstrating health benefits with higher protein intake, particularly in sports nutrition research, it becomes evident that the recommended amount falls short of adequately supporting, let alone maximizing muscle growth. The necessary protein intake depends on the specific phase, bulking, cutting, or recomp, and these guidelines apply to both men and women. During a bulking phase, when the body is well fed and less likely to use muscle tissue as a fuel source, the recommended protein intake ranges from 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram or 0.7 to 1 gram per pound daily. The widely accepted 1 gram per pound rule aligns with the higher end of this range, suggesting that individuals weighing 180 pounds or 80 kilograms should aim for 125 to 180 grams of protein daily. Conversely, in a cutting phase, where the body receives fewer calories and has reduced fuel reserves, protein intake should increase to 1.8 to 2.7 grams per kilogram or 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound. Here, the classic 1 gram per pound rule falls in the middle of the recommended range, but adjustments should be made based on individual factors such as body fat percentage and training intensity. In a recomp phase, where the goal is to simultaneously build muscle and lose fat while maintaining caloric balance, protein requirements can align with bulking recommendations. A simpler approach suggested by researcher Eric Helms proposes aiming for 1 gram of protein per centimeter in height for those who are overweight or obese, providing a more individualized guideline. For instance, someone who is 183 centimeters tall would target around 183 grams of protein, a method that has shown efficacy, especially for those with higher body fat levels. How much protein can you absorb per meal? The response to the query of how much protein can be absorbed in a single meal is essentially all of it. The human body possesses the capacity to absorb a substantial amount of protein in a single sitting, often exceeding what one might comfortably consume. However, absorption specifically refers to the transfer of nutrients from the small intestine into the bloodstream. Merely because protein is being absorbed does not guarantee its utilization for muscle building. The critical question, therefore, centers around how much protein can be effectively utilized in a single meal, a topic that sparks some controversy. Early research proposed that 20 to 25 grams of protein in a single meal was sufficient to maximize the anabolic response, with anything beyond that offering no additional benefit for muscle growth. Nevertheless, skepticism arises, particularly from the anecdotal perspective. The intermittent fasting community, for instance, demonstrates muscular development with 1 or 2 meals per day, each containing upwards of 50 to 100 grams of protein. The notion that a significant portion of this protein goes to waste seems improbable given their observed muscularity. Recent research challenges the notion of a 20 to 25 gram upper limit. Studies from 2016 reveal higher muscle protein synthesis with 40 grams of whey compared to 20 grams after a full body workout. Similarly, another study from the same year demonstrates greater muscle protein synthesis with a meal containing 70 grams of protein versus 35 grams. Although the precise amount of protein one can effectively use per meal remains unclear, emerging evidence suggests it might be higher than initially believed. Regardless, the consensus underscores that daily protein intake is more crucial than the per-meal distribution. While many experts recommend spreading protein across 3 to 5 meals for optimal digestion and sustained muscle protein synthesis throughout the day, Building muscle remains achievable even with 2 or 6 meals, as long as the daily protein target is met. The focus shifts from the frequency of meals to the overall protein intake per day, with the acknowledgement that different meal patterns may offer varying degrees of optimization. What are the highest quality proteins? The determination of protein quality is, in part, contingent on the quantity of the amino acid leucine. Leucine plays a pivotal role as the catalyst that stimulates mTOR, thereby initiating new muscle growth. To delve into the practical aspects, let's explore the amounts of various protein sources required to achieve a leucine intake of 3 grams, a figure considered a reasonable ballpark for maximizing the anabolic response to a meal. Examining the table, whey protein emerges as the leader, with a mere 29 grams providing the coveted 3 grams of leucine. Remarkably, this comes at a modest caloric cost of 145 calories. In comparison, chicken breast, offering 40 grams of protein and 3 grams of leucine, demands approximately 200 calories. Conversely, whole wheat bread requires over 2,000 calories to reach the same leucine threshold, highlighting the substantial difference in efficiency. A prevalent trend surfaces. Animal-derived proteins generally surpass their plant-based counterparts in leucine content, especially when considering calories. However, this discrepancy diminishes when incorporating vegan protein powders like soy, pea, and brown rice isolates. These alternatives deliver 3 grams of leucine for less than 200 calories. While leucine holds significance, protein quality hinges on more than just this amino acid. Even though leucine serves as the catalyst for muscle growth, the other 8 essential amino acids, EAAs, are imperative for actual muscle construction. The digestible indispensable amino acid score, DIAS, measures the EAAs in a protein source, with higher scores indicating more EAAs. Noteworthy is that these tables reference proteins consumed in isolation. In real-world scenarios, individuals combine diverse foods, ensuring adequate leucine and EAAs by achieving their total daily protein goals. This pragmatic perspective underscores that protein quality may be less critical than commonly perceived. Consequently, leucine, branched-chain amino acid, BCAA, and EAA supplementation often prove unnecessary when daily protein intake is sufficient. However, for vegan athletes, a nuanced approach is advisable. They might consider leaning towards the higher end of protein ranges or supplementing with a high-quality, high-leucine protein source, such as a vegan whey blend incorporating pea and brown rice proteins to mimic the amino acid profile of whey protein. Timing of post-workout protein. There is a common misunderstanding that many people have, which holds that if you don't eat protein within 30 minutes of doing out, the entire workout is pointless. But this idea was disproved years ago. In actuality, you may maximize the anabolic response to exercise as long as your pre- and post-workout meals occur within a window of roughly 4 to 6 hours of one another. The only possible exception to this rule would be if you train while fasting, in which case you should eat some protein as soon as possible after working out. Timing of pre-bed protein, perhaps a timing variable of greater importance, albeit one that is less commonly discussed, involves the consumption of protein before bedtime. In a study conducted by my colleague Joran Tromelin and Luc Van Loon, they emphasized the significance of pre-sleep protein as a valuable feeding opportunity. The recommendation is to ingest approximately 40 grams of protein before an overnight fast, aiming to enhance overnight muscle protein synthesis. Personally, this aligns with my own practice. However, it's noteworthy that other longitudinal studies directly investigating the impact of consuming slow-digesting casein protein before bed or in the morning found no significant difference over an 8 to 10-week period. It is crucial to highlight that both of these studies involve subjects with a notably high overall protein intake, ranging around 2 grams per kilogram or approximately 1 gram per pound. This reiterates the point that, as long as the total daily protein intake is sufficient, the specific timing factors become considerably less crucial. There are no valid safety concerns associated with a high-protein diet for healthy individuals. As stated in a comprehensive position stand by the International Society of Sports Nutrition, there is no controlled scientific evidence indicating that increased intakes of protein pose any health risks in healthy exercising individuals. The protein levels recommended in this video have been demonstrated over decades to not only be safe, but to also confer health benefits, even surpassing the provided recommendations, with intakes as high as 4.4 grams per kilogram or 2 grams per pound, consistently shows no adverse effects. Undoubtedly, the most crucial factor remains the total daily protein intake. To enhance optimization, attention can be given to the distribution of protein throughout the day, with a general consensus pointing towards 3 to 5 meals as the anabolic sweet spot. These two factors alone are predicted to yield more than 90% of potential results. While protein quality is worth considering, and protein timing may offer some optimization benefits, especially for those training fasted or experiencing extended overnight fasts, they play a relatively minor role compared to total daily protein intake and meal distribution. So, this is it for today's video. If you know any other smartest way that we can use protein to build muscles, let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more content like this. Till then, see you in the next video. Take care.